So you might have heard the phrase, here today, gone tomorrow. That is definitely the case with the white-tailed deer and white-tailed bucks in particular. When we talk about here today, gone tomorrow, we're talking about dispersal behavior among white-tailed deer. This is unique to white-tailed deer, and the fact that where deer are born, actually both bucks and does, is normally, and when I say normally, pretty much never where they wind up residing for the rest of their lives. A white-tailed buck will disperse from its natal range sometimes twice by the time that deer is 2 years old. What we know through research is that a buck, by the time he hits his first antler growing season, by the time he's 18 months old, he's going to disperse anywhere from 2 to 20 or more miles from where he was born. This usually happens in spring and or fall, and it almost is always dictated on the amount of forest cover in that area. So when you look in parts of the country, like let's just say Illinois or Kansas, where there's not a ton of forest cover, those bucks will normally disperse in spring. Not always, but there seems to be a preponderance towards spring dispersal in those areas. In heavily forested areas, northern Michigan, Maine, northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, places like that, those deer normally will disperse in fall. It's very unique, but what we do know is 50 to 80% of yearling bucks are going to disperse by the time that first fall rolls around. Why do bucks disperse? This is the key to this whole episode. It was originally thought that the primary driving force was to prevent inbreeding within the deer herd. There's some truth to this that we know through research, but we know that it is not the underlying driving force for this, because we know that yearling bucks will sire in some areas a large percentage of fawns. And actually, in cases of multiple paternity, when you look at twin fawns, a lot of times there's two fathers. So that doe was bred multiple times during her cycle. It could have been a mature buck and it could have been a yearling buck. So we know inbreeding, there might be something to do with that, but not the driving force. Other considerations, habitat, quality. As the habitat gets degraded, those yearling bucks are going to go farther. They're going to disperse farther, longer distances. Not why you might think, however. It has to do, the number one reason why yearling bucks disperse is because of maternal domination. That means that buck's mother and his aunts and grandmothers, those does live in maternally linked groups. They vie for the best habitat because they need to raise their fawns. So the best habitat means the best cover, the best food sources. And those does are going to be highly competitive, and they're going to drive those young bucks away. And what happens when you find out that bucks, they might go 2 miles, they might go 20 miles, this is mostly due to the quality of the habitat, because that buck might get 2 miles away, but he runs into a whole nother subset of females that are vying for that really top quality cover, keep pushing them farther and farther away. That's kind of how it works. It's not 100%, but we know through research it has a lot to do with this. So what does this teach us about yearling buck dispersal? Number one, you should really get in your head, there's not a lot you can do about it. The only thing that you can really do is, number one, monitor and maintain the habitat as best that you can. And number two, keep those deer densities to prescribed levels that your state biologists indicate through their harvest quotas and strategies. When you keep those deer densities down, you're going to prevent a lot of this behavior that the whitetail is exhibiting naturally to make sure that the species survives. For more information on not only yearling buck dispersal, but deer behavior and biology, be sure to check out all of our content on deeranddeerhunting.com.